joking.
I got you.
Please get the pull over. That thing's loud.
Are we live right now?
We are live
Ooh, you
right now.
changed to the green shirt. Nice.
Oh, there you go.
Staff. Head of staff.
Head of staff. No, that's Casey Hupke.
Yeah. All right. I think we are ready to do a show.
Shots. Oh
Let's
boy.
see.
I feel like
Who's here? We
hi.
got Paul, Jeremy, Jen, Sarah,
Jeremy.
Jason, Thomas, Rev, Thomas, Todd. Cool. I think we
Hi, Sarah.
are looking good here. I think we can probably start recording. How about y'all? I'm rolling.
I
Check.
am-
1 2 1 2 1 2.
check.
Here.
Yep, rolling over
Check.
here.
All right, let me roll.
All right.
Check. Rolling.
It's hot in my office, and I'm wearing a hoodie. But you know, here's the cool thing: I could just turn down my AC.
Turn down for what?
Turn down for what?
You
Okay.
just got to keep it cold in the house so you can wear a beanie and stuff.
Right?
Exactly.
I,
That's what I do.
My kid was walking home the other day and totally busted his face, like full on, like right here and right here. Just has like these huge gashes in his head. And so I was unpacking all my stuff from camp, and I found a beanie. I was like, "Here, wear this." And so he's been wearing it all week just to cover up the big scar.
It's funny.
It's funny.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna freeze this place out. 71 degrees. Here we go.
Is everybody rolling?
Rolling.
Yes, I'm rolling.
All right. You ready to do a sync clap? It'll be 1 2 3
Do it.
clap. All right. Here we go. 1 2 3. All right.
Good looking spike.
All right. Cool. Before we start the show, I'm gonna roll the FOMO though, so stand by, and everybody watch, and then I'll just go right into the intro.
Sorry, Paul. The FOMO will not be set to a minimum.
Yeah. Sorry.
It will be turned up to a maximum.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. What's up, and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is our fellow camp director from Profanity.tv, Mark Cernosia.
Hello.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, show topic suggestions, artist suggestions. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and all the things. Check us out. Follow us on the things. You get different content depending on where you go. You know?
Mhm.
So follow us on all of it. And so we're going to get right into it. This is the camp recap episode.
Yeah.
This is the FOMO episode of the year.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yep.
It's going to happen. Mark is here. We've got a couple things to talk about today. Number one, before we get into it, we just wanted to thank our sponsors one more time.
Absolutely.
For sticking with us for so
you told
long.
me have them up, and I don't have them up. I'm
Right.
a terrible person.
The thing is, everybody stayed on board. The campers stayed on board.
Yep.
The sponsors stayed on board, and that was amazing because it was a long, long journey.
It really was. The hardest thing to do was to plan an event during COVID. And as everyone has seen, like with NAB, just this past week, they canceled again, and it's like.
Yep.
I think us and Dash Bash. Is Dash Bash going on this week, or was that last weekend?
Dash Bash is this weekend.
Yeah, so
Thursday,
it's
is
like
that right?
these are probably the only two events that will happen this year, which is great. And so
you will have the quarter res, I believe.
Quarter res, yeah.
Quarter res already did happen.
It did happen.
Oh, it did.
Oh, we
Okay,
missed
cool.
it. Gosh, it's been such a blur.
It has been. It has been.
Yeah, the last month or so has just been a long run up to camp and a lot of prep for sure.
Absolutely.
You got that sponsor list up yet?
I got them up. Yeah.
Okay,
totally.
cool.
Big shout out to all of our sponsors for once sticking with us during the whole COVID situation. I mean, they got a year of advertising with us every time we were talking about it. So it helped them out as well, I hope. But, thanks to all of our sponsors. They helped keep the ticket prices down. And, we were able to do a lot of really cool stuff, like the new tumblers, that we gave out to everyone. And we were able to do like some cool like shirts. Like the shirts were a lot better quality this year and stuff like that. And I was really, really happy about it. And we couldn't have done it without all the amazing sponsors. First up, our village sponsors, Maxon, Otoy, and Video Copilot. Huge shout out to them. And then our gold sponsors, Minimal Massive, Grayscale Gorilla, and De Facto Sound. And then our bronze sponsors, A Scripts and School of Motion. So we are incredibly thankful for all of our sponsors. They help lighten the burden for us to where we don't have to rely on just ticket sales alone in order to make it a badass event. And so big shout out to them, and everyone who went, give them a shout out for making it as awesome as it was. And of course, we can't not talk about Beeple and his sponsorship for all the many good times had thanks to him.
He was Beeple was the food and beverage sponsor this year.
Go with food and beverage.
Yeah. But mostly
Libation.
mostly beverage.
Mostly beverage, but yes.
Of the highest caliber.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yes,
and
Beeple was
Spider-
our Spider Lord sponsor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
big shout out to Beeple for that. Like I feel like a lot of people had quite a bit more enjoyment because of the additions we were able to add because of him. So thank you to Beeple.
Yeah, and sticking on the sponsor thing for a second too, what was really cool is outside of the support that they gave us through building the camp and on sale and just all the promotion and everything leading up to camp, it was also great to have so many sponsors at camp. We had a huge group from Maxon that we got to hang out with. Jules from Otoy was there. We had the crew from Minimal Massive there. Andy from Grayscale was there. Dallas from De Facto Sound. So it was really great to connect with not only the sponsors for that portion of everything, but just hanging out together and had some great conversations with all of those people, and just super stoked that they were able to actually come out and enjoy and experience camp for what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was so
Cider
interesting
Lord.
seeing some of the gatherings. The Cider Lord, yeah. That's a good one.
I like that.
That's a
I
good
like
one.
that. That's good. Yeah.
Maybe that's what Windbush becomes. There's a legend of Windbush now.
Oh, the Spider Lord and the Cider Lord.
Yeah,
I like
all
that.
of these legends come together, and then they battle each other like Godzilla or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
all the legends happen. It's so great. And let's first, before we get into some of the things that we did at camp, Mark, let's talk about you a little bit, because you've been on before and stuff, but I feel like we're always talking about camp, and we're not really talking about like your background. So talk about your background, and then we'll talk about how we kind of, started working on camp together.
Oh yeah, sure. So let's see. Born and raised in Vermont. We'll go way back.
Yeah.
No, but I've always, I grew up snowboarding, skateboarding, lots of sports stuff. And through that, I started filming and editing. And then over time, I went to school actually for art, to like fine art. So I was doing a lot of sketching and painting and sculpting and stuff like that, which was really fun and great. But I really wanted to land in like either a graphic design or video editing, something online. On the computer. So I was actually fortunate enough where a few of the journalism teachers at my school allowed me to get into their classes. And that gave me kind of my foundation of learning Premiere, some After Effects stuff at the time. But what it was Flash at the time, and Flash websites and, 2 keyframes and tween, right?
Tween, yeah.
So that was really what started my journey in terms of like creatively on the computer. But, with my background being in skating and snowboarding and stuff like that, it's, I think a big mentality there is kind of the DIY and like, I'll just figure out how to do it type thing. So when it comes to motion graphics and whatnot, I have zero formal training. It's all been just through online and trying to figure it out myself. And, through trial and error. And yeah, let's see. Going back a little bit too, I helped start like a website for action sports back in the day that, that has a whole web dev side of me that I am happy to put on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, through that, I spent some time out in California in the Lake Tahoe area. And then I did move back to Vermont once I spent some time chasing the snowboard dream out there. Came back to Vermont to start the family and get married and do all that. And by landing back in Vermont, one of the biggest companies, local companies here, is an international sports company called Burton Snowboards. And if you're familiar with anything in the outdoor industry, you've probably heard of Burton Snowboards before. So I worked there for many years doing video editing and animation, and really the only person there doing it. So if you saw any sort of media from Burton from 2010 till maybe a few years back, it came across my desk. So through that, again, it's just the kind of trial by fire, trying to take certain concepts that were being presented to me and figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I actually did a complete 3D project for a new product that was coming out. And I was working with the engineers on the different bindings that we're developing, and also engineers for the boots. And what was happening was we were making creative and advertisements while that product was still in development. So every few weeks we'd get an update that something needs to change, and doing it all in cinema, I was able to get in, change materials or change locations of logos or whatnot. And I kind of saw the light bulb go off on all these marketing, like the VP of marketing, the creative director. Everyone's like, oh my God, this opens up such a, huge door of opportunity for us to do kind of, rapid prototyping and essentially revising any sort of creative assets that we may have. And that really came to a head when this specific 3D project, we had made all these full page ads, sent them out to the printer, and then the engineering team came back and was like, whoa, we've updated the product since then. It does not look like that anymore. And like, essentially you could hear a pin drop in marketing there, because at Burton we essentially had our own in-house marketing studio and agency, where we would do all the video stuff, all the web development, all the catalogs, all the print, all the events. Everything was handled in-house. So when we got that feedback, everyone was like kind of oh crap, we just sent out full page ads to all these magazines. Like, how are we going to deal with this? So I was like, actually, no problem. So went back to my desk 2 hours later, had a new render. We were able to comp that all together with the designers and sent out a new revised print ad for all these major publications. So I saw light bulbs go off again of like, holy crap, like this just saved our butt. And so it gave me kind of the wherewithal to start exploring this on a bigger scale. What can I do outside of my company? Is there freelance opportunities and all that? And so over the years, I started freelancing night and weekends, essentially moonlighting. And then through that time, I was able to build up a bit of a client list. I did get recruited away from Burton to do some more 3D product viz stuff at a agency outside of Boston. And while that agency was great and the people were there were just fantastic, the line of work and the work and projects that were being landed were more on the explainer video side of things. And obviously shops need to pay their bills, and a lot of times those medical explainer videos do that quite well. So it just wasn't for me. And they wanted me to, I'm still in Vermont, they wanted me to move to Boston, and I was down for that if it was the right fit, but it just wasn't the right fit. I didn't want to uproot the family, sell the house, do, yada, yada. It was going to be a big undertaking. So through that, I decided, you know what, I've been freelancing on the side. Why don't I try this full time? And I had been saving up money for our move, which was no longer happening. So that afforded me to have about 3 months of runway where if I didn't land any job, I would have been fine. I could have paid our bills and kind of, gotten through the tough times, if you will.
And you need at least that. You need at least 3 months.
Exactly. At least that. And, everyone has their own story with like how they went freelance, if they have, and how much money they had saved. Everyone has a different, position and life situation and all that. So, everyone's story is different, but that was mine. And then, from there, when I kind of announced that I was just going to do freelance full time, doing my own thing, all of a sudden, all these connections I had made through the years started hitting me up. And so, the power of LinkedIn, just saying, hey, I'm freelance now, really helped me kind of start and add to my client list that I had been working with beforehand, but just at a bigger scale. And so a few years of that as like a solo freelancer. And then over the last year and a half or two, I've been slowly starting to build my own little studio, which allows me to scale up for any sort of project that does come in. And through various outlets like the different Slack channels, the different Discords, and to bring it full circle, Camp Mograph, I'm meeting all these other artists that are either in a similar position as me, or are just, working day rate on certain projects for certain companies. And so that really has helped me expand my network and allowed me to meet new artists and new people to work with. So that's essentially where I am now. About a year ago, I started Profanity Creative, which is profanity.tv, and we specialize in doing kind of 3D product visualization for the outdoor and lifestyle industries. Those are the industries that I know well. It's products that I use all the time, and it's a super honor to be involved in creating the marketing collateral for a lot of these brands and products that are launching. So
and I think it was I can give a lot of credit to your background in like snowboarding and like outdoor adventure-y type stuff. Like you were the brainchild for Camp Mograph. I was just a worker bee who saw once you toured the first camp, I was like, all right, I'm all on board. I wasn't sure about it at first, but as soon as you showed us that first camp, I was like, all right, I'm on full steam ahead. Let's do this.
And we were talking about that the other day too, because originally I think we were at Half Res, and we were all
We were at
staying in a
Half Res,
B&B and chatting about, you were like, wouldn't it be cool if we could just hang out and just do this? We don't have to go to any events or anything like that. We're just all hanging and chatting, and that's kind of where it started. And it's funny now because we're so busy trying to run the event now during the event that we don't get that. But
yeah, I mean, I'll give you my perspective on the story too, which might be a little bit different, but I think you guys will get a kick out of it because essentially, I was driving home from Maine. My wife's from Maine, and so it's about 4 hours away from where I currently live or where we currently live. And the whole family was sleeping, and it was a beautiful fall day. I'm driving through the mountains, and I see this lake with a couple houses on it. I'm like, oh wow, that would be really cool for us to rent one of those, or maybe two of them if we could get enough people, and kind of have a bunch of people get together and go fishing and talk shop and drink some beers and barbecue and stuff like that. And then I think it was maybe a week or two later, we all met up at Half Res. And we were all staying at the Airbnb. And I think as the night progressed, I was just like, hey, I had this thought. Would you guys want to do this? And all of you guys were like, yeah, we should. I think a lot of people would be into that. I think we should make that an event. And I was like, okay. You guys want to help? And you're like, yeah. So I think that's essentially how it kind of came to be. It started as like, hey, let's rent an Airbnb for the weekend. And next thing we knew, we were renting a camp in Vermont, and there was 70 people from all over the world coming. So
it was like that first camp. It was a little nerve wracking. We
didn't know.
We didn't know. We didn't know what to expect. It didn't sell out,
Right.
And
because it was new.
It ended up costing us personally a little bit of money, which it wasn't that bad. For as awesome as an event it was totally worth it.
Yes.
To basically break even on an event for the first year is pretty good.
Yeah. But it's so funny when we first got there. I remember us taking a tour of the camp, the first camp, and Jeremy was there, and he goes, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And I was like, "It is kind of cool, isn't it?" Yeah. I think people will have a good time. Yeah.
John Haley's in the chat. All the campers are in the chat. It's awesome.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know too, year one of camp was here in Vermont at this camp up in North Hero, which is, as the crow flies, maybe about 2 or 3 miles from the Canadian border. So we were way up there, and it was unseasonably cold for that time of year. It was October. We had to buy space heaters. The camp itself is very rustic. It's a summer camp, so they don't have heat or anything like that. And I remember when we first posted about camp, and we wanted to be completely transparent of what these cabins looked like. And so we were posting pictures, and some of the blowback that we had from Twitter and from other kind of social platforms, a lot of it, I think, was because the Fire Festival documentaries had just come out.
Yes.
And everyone was just waiting for us to be like
I was
Fire Fest.
Very worried about that comparison.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
And maybe it was in some ways, but the best part was we were all in it together. Even as the directors, we were still sleeping in the freezing cold cabin.
But camps are supposed to be rustic. Experience. Yeah, Fire Fest wasn't supposed to be rustic, so we had a good excuse.
Yeah. And that's the thing, our community is so diverse as it is. You've got a bunch of people who love the outdoors, and you got a bunch of people who don't. And there's enough people to come to camp, that are willing to, either sacrifice a little bit in order to, enjoy themselves, or just love camping and nature as it is. So,
and I mean, we spend so much time behind a screen, whether it's at our desk or in our phone, in our hand. If we can take 1 weekend a year to just remove that, I mean, it seems like it could be a mighty task, but really it's not that bad. And once you leave your phone away and you get rid of the phantom buzz that still happens in your pocket, you just get used to it, and I really think that even after camp, I've my phone just kind of stays plugged in somewhere. I've really been consciously trying to just not have it on me at all times.
Yeah. Was it James? I think James posted on Twitter, the picture of everyone at the fireside chat, and he said, how many times have you seen, a crowd, not a single person on their cell phone?
Yeah.
It's like, that's cool. That's real cool.
I think I posted one on stories. It's just there was no cell phone reception, no Wi-Fi down there, nothing.
Yeah.
And so everybody is just eyes forward, and it's just something you don't see
cool.
anymore.
Yeah. It was very cool.
I thought, going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think it was funny because when we left Chicago after having that conversation, Matt and I were actually on our way to Iceland. So we're we're driving through the South Coast, and we have to stop because there's a huge flock of sheep going across the road. and he gets this text, and it's like a design for the Camp Mograph logo. He's like, "Oh, check this out." I'm like, "Man, this is happening quick." So and I think some people I think people don't understand the relationship. So basically, Mograph and Profanity basically are two companies come together to form Camp Mograph. And then we have the directors. So a lot of people are unfamiliar with the structure of that whole thing. So I wanted to make sure everybody understood. So there's the two of y'all that have been doing most of the planning, along with Julie, who has been doing all the alcohol,
we couldn't have done it
flights,
without
all
her.
that. And we make up the directors. I only kind of showed up at the last month or two to do what I could with the database.
He likes to throw wrenches in at the last little bit.
I'm the data nerd anyway, so I'll just come in and do the database.
Well, and also, I mean, like, even from year one, like, year two would not have been as successful as it was if it hadn't been for year one and everything we had learned and everyone who had contributed at that stage two. Again, Julie was very important year one. Liam was very important year one. And I think we ended up getting through a lot of wrinkles. Essentially, we had to like iron stuff out just to see if this would work. Because year one was almost just proof of concept, right? Like, okay, wow, someone will pay money to go do this. Okay, cool. So, even though 2.0 year two was really year two, it felt like, all right, this was really the first official camp in a way.
We all kind of had our things that we were good at too, that we brought to the table for it. And there's such a great, for me, like a sense of satisfaction when, like, in doing it. Like, for me, it's not about attending, although I would like a little more time to attend and just chill, we're working on that for all of us. But I don't know, there was something for me when I got back. I could not stop thinking about it. I'm sure everybody else, Joe, I saw, and a bunch of other people in the chat are saying, the same thing. Can't stop thinking about it. Just can't stop thinking about it. And
I dreamt about it twice this week.
Yeah, it's just like I get such a amazing feeling of satisfaction of having done the event and we all worked and together and we did our things and we made it happen and coming back and it was successful. Like, I don't feel that when I do a render. Like, I like doing a render, but that sense of like accomplishment that it actually happened, especially right now, it feels amazing, and like it feels like a calling. It's like, okay, I just want to do this now. I don't want to render anymore,
Well, and for the people that don't know, I mean, this is essentially our personal project.
Right.
It is. Yeah, I love that you said that on the, like, when we were like welcoming all the campers and stuff at our first dinner or whatever, and you said, "Welcome to our personal project." And it's like, that is 100% what it is.
Yeah.
We're not doing short films. This is our personal project.
Yeah, and it's, it's hard enough to put something on like this as is, throw a fucking worldwide pandemic in it, like, it complicates things. But big ups to Camp Collins, where we hosted this year's event, and all the staff there. They had, we were in touch with them quite a bit about all the protocols, how we were gonna be able to keep the camp safe, and essentially we were able to ask for proof of vaccination or a negative test
COVID
within
test,
a small window right before camp. And that allowed us to kind of create this safe space at camp that we knew we were kind of on our own little island, and I think
it was
gave a lot
amazing
of
how
people,
comfortable it felt.
Yeah.
It allowed everyone to kind of take a deep breath and just relax. And we also provided bracelets, which was cool. I'm still rocking mine. I got mine right here.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, hey, yeah, I still got mine on actually.
Oh my gosh, yo.
Yeah.
So we had red, yellow, and green. And that was just a really nice, discreet way of saying, like, green, give me a hug. Yellow, let's do a elbow bump or ask, right? And then red, just keep your distance. But it was just nice because you didn't have to, start off your conversation like that. You could kind of just eye their bracelet and be like, all right,
and
cool.
you knew instantly. There wasn't any of the politics or anything based off your bracelet choice. You didn't have to talk about anything. It was just, I'm yellow. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool.
And that was a conscious thing that we tried to do as well. And even Matthias mentioned this at the kind of welcome dinner, was just like, there's so much drama and there's so much politics and just everything that's happening in the world nowadays. Like, let's just forget about that for a few days and just like not even talk about it. And I'm really proud and happy that everyone there really took that to heart. Yeah. And I mean, there was a few like little side conversations that, I had and whatnot. It is what it is. But like nothing, that was not a jumping off point for all the discussions or anything like that. So it was just really great and refreshing to have, I don't know, or just to feel more normal now.
Right.
Even if it was for that weekend.
We got great feedback on those, and Anthony Abbott actually sent us something, and part of the email said, I think it was the magic in between where people weren't forced to segregate or judge based off personal or medical decisions. This is regarding the bracelets, and still being able to express their comfort levels in a respectful way. I think originally we were talking about could it be a pin or what would that be? But then the pin, you have to take it off and put it on your clothes each day. So that just felt so great, and it just feels like a great solution. I feel like other people need to adopt this. And checking in, everybody, really we check in and we tell them what it was, and they're like, "Can I use this like everywhere in real life?" Like, So
totally
$1 million idea right there.
Well, and kind of in that same realm too, camp is, we as directors can plan so much, right? We try to think of everything. We try to think of how certain things are going to play out. We do our best for that, but we can't think of everything. And, certain things that do come up, like we can handle relatively easily, or, what I'm trying to say too is like what camp is and was is the sum of all parts. Everyone there is what made camp what it was.
Right.
Absolutely.
We could have had some big different opinions about, I don't know, politics or whatever that could have just spoiled camp, right?
Yeah.
Or spoiled it for some. And keeping that off the table and just making sure everyone was kind of in this together, that's what makes camp what it is. And I think that's the ultimate goal for us is, again, building community and giving people an excuse to get outside, have a good time, and just chill and disconnect.
Absolutely.
It's like my happy place. Like I keep going back to it in that way. And I don't know if you ever experienced this, but like growing up, there were certain times when I would like, I don't know. I don't know if it's new experiences or whatever it was, but like say you go to a school dance, right? Or you go to like a football game on October night, and it's, you're young, you're hanging out with friends. This is kind of your first experience. And then you go home and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it kind of runs through your head. The moments in the night run through your head. Maybe you're drifting off to sleep. You can still hear the voices and things. That's kind of how I feel like maybe because it was such a fresh new experience, every day for the most part when we're in quarantine, we're just going through the same motions, and it was such a completely different thing. Like your day was completely different than anything you would do at home, and that's not something you get to experience much these days. And I'm seeing a lot of creativity, I think, coming out of people that were at camp. I'm looking on social media, I'm looking at Instagram and things, and I feel like I'm seeing some of those people posting work that it looks like they're refreshed.
Yeah, I mean, I think what would mean a successful camp for us is not selling out, is not getting all these sponsors, is not,
Right.
any of that kind of like level 1 stuff. It is,
Gosh, I love that picture.
it's the stuff that gets deeper, and it's like when we're walking the camp in between classes or workshops, and you see little breakout conversations happening, or people playing cornhole for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And like
Right.
hanging out together. It's like those are the moments. That's what makes a successful camp, at least in my eyes, and I'm sure for you both too.
Yeah.
It's just that community building, and I think we're fortunate enough that the motion graphics community already is very big and vibrant, and we're lucky to have people want to continue that and essentially, keep building it. So yeah.
I said that I said this numerous times at camp, but my favorite time is when there's so much to do, like right at the beginning and getting everyone checked in that Thursday, you know, and then Friday, once people go off to the workshops, it's like the chance for us as directors to finally just say,
That's when it's
all right,
quiet for the
we've
first
now
time.
passed it on to the workshop instructors.
Right.
It's up to them to teach now. And, we get to finally breathe. And it's like we get to look around and say, okay, we did this. This is great. Right. I love that picture.
Yeah. A little animated beer there.
Well, and I'll say this too, like, camp, we keep camp small, right? Like, there, we could have sold 300 tickets to this thing. I'm
easily.
confident.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And limiting it to 100 campers plus about 25 staff.
Yeah.
Is kind of that sweet spot and allows you to like essentially meet everyone there and have good conversations. I think as that crowd gets bigger, you
start to lose that intimacy.
Right.
Yeah, and
you don't get to meet everybody.
You can start having those little cliques, and if you go with a few friends, you might just stay in that group because it's comfortable. But being small, a small total group, I think it allows everyone to feel a little bit more comfortable and just, kind of put the guard down for a bit. Or at least, if you're very introverted, a group of 100 people might seem very overwhelming. And then as you break that into smaller groups through the workshops and just the little side conversations, all of a sudden you've met everyone because you've had, 50 2-on-2 conversations or something.
It does kind of feel like a wedding at times. Like you don't get to talk to everybody. It just for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, some people that you haven't seen in a while, and something comes up, or you got to go do something or whatever, or there's a class to get to. There's just so many people, even with the small amount of people we had. So yeah.
I was worried. So our first camp we had about 70 people, give or take a few. And I was worried that basically doubling that amount was going to, we were going to lose that same camp feeling. But I feel like Camp Collins, was a perfect place where it was big enough for all of us to be able to hang out and still keep that going, Yeah. And I think it was the sweet spot. The amount of people that we had was a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, sorry, while I'm thinking of it, we need to thank Jags for that amazing video at the beginning of the show. By the way, if it'll be in the show notes if you haven't seen it. But I didn't want to forget to thank him for doing that. He's gonna be working with us on a lot more video stuff for camp moving forward. So
yeah, we had some awesome campers show up this year with some video gear and whatnot, and shooting some stuff. Jags was one of them. Nick Donlin was the other. Well, there was a few others, but and it's just great to see the media come out of it. I mean, we consciously don't videotape the workshops and the fireside chats and all that because that's something that stays special at camp.
Yeah. But if someone so happens to bring their camera and record it, and someone places it on Vimeo or something, I mean, we can't help that.
I mean, you might get clips and whatnot, but it's not like we record the whole thing as a presentation. That's
Because the way I was equating it to others was that you could go to a concert and then you can watch that same concert on YouTube, and it's gonna have a completely different feel.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
we want to keep it, at the concert, at camp. And I think a lot of people, enjoy that. And one thing I was going to mention about all the campers was that I think everyone really embraced the whole vibe of it. Like everyone was so friendly, asking if they can help with anything.
Yeah.
It was, even though we're the camp directors, I mean, it really is a team effort. I mean, there's campers that are like, hey, do you need help bringing this over, this table here, or that? So, I mean, I think you almost start getting that like family vibe of everyone feeling comfortable and like just excited to be outside. And maybe it's just the fresh air or whatnot, but it just feels like rejuvenating for people, I think. And honestly, not to get too heady with it, but it is kind of like human tribal nature, right? To like gather together around like-minded individuals and just talk and enjoy each other's company. So I think we've tapped into that, and I hope we can continue doing that for years to come.
Yeah. I mean, getting outside, being active, getting that vitamin D,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, how often do we actually get to do that? It's awesome.
Totally.
It was amazing how silent it was down by the campfire.
Yeah.
Just not even the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
There was great Wi-Fi except down there, and that was
it was
what
really
kind of
funny.
made it cool.
So the first night with Austin Shaw's, and so unfortunately Ryan Summers wasn't able to make it as the MC and stuff. He had some family stuff. He had to stay at home, and as much as that sucked, not having one person to MC the entire thing, it added a bit of interest to it, because we were able to find a different MC every night. Aaron Sorofsky came to come and hang out at camp, which was awesome to have her there, because it's almost like she ended the last camp and then started this camp, because she was our MC with Austin. And what was so cool was that we didn't have a PA down there, because they were both projecting really well. I was sitting in the back and I could hear them just fine, but then we brought in a PA the second night for Hazel, and it worked well. But you know what? We were able to hear Austin and Aaron talking the entire time, because it was so quiet,
silent.
other than the
Airplanes
coming over occasionally.
Apparently Camp Collins is in the flight path to PDX, so
but
every few minutes. But
it was cool. It added some interest to it, So Aaron got to interview Austin, and then Matthias got to interview Hazel, and then me and Ash Thorpe got up on stage and we talked to Mike, and it was great. It added a lot of interesting flavor to it that we weren't expecting, and it was cool because of that.
Well, with that being said, too, do we want to talk a little bit about the fireside chats?
I mean, they were so good. Like it was, I felt like it was such a good mixture of people, like Austin and his background in education and stuff like that. And then Hazel, doing titles and stuff like that, had that background. And then Beeple and the whole NFT space. It was such a wide range of people, all in the same industry but doing different things. It was great to hear everyone's chat on it. Yeah.
And it's also interesting too, putting some of these people up on a stage that doesn't have a screen to present. I feel like sometimes that's that's something that you can hide behind, and kind of you can have a presentation somewhat locked, and you kind of go through the motions and you get through it. But having it totally kind of unscripted and more of a discussion, I think adds a lot of value to everyone who can see that. And it's just way more raw and I don't know, humanizing in a way. And like there's certain moments of like awkwardness, and you're like, okay, like this makes me awkward. I wonder if they're awkward too. But then it's very just vulnerable, right? Like just those awkward moments of trying to think of like, why did I do this, or what is your thought about X topic, and just having to sit there and think, and everyone not just having that automatic answer that you can just say. And I feel like the fireside chats were able to get a bit deeper than just that surface level that we hear from a lot of other presentations these days.
And
so I think that's really
the
cool.
people watching, and I gotta give y'all a huge shout out for the lighting
that worked way better
on the fireside
I think than we thought it would.
Chats. I can't even believe how beautiful that ended up.
It was
like
perfect.
I had my doubts hardcore when y'all are like, yeah, let's just buy some of these outdoor lights and stuff.
Little flickery lights.
It was gorgeous.
Little fake fire.
Like it was so much better than like if we were to just do like fire,
Right.
Yeah.
Like it ended up looking really good.
And for those who haven't seen it too, or any photos of it, Camp Collins has all these awesome old trees that have like moss dangling down, and like it looks like an Ewok's about to jump out at you at some point. But we bought these LED lights that are RGB and controlled by the phone, and we plugged them in, shot them straight up the trees, and it just illuminated everything. And it
was such a walk, like going up and down. Like I took all the lights down there, we set them up, and then it said found 8 lights, and then it wouldn't add them. And I'm like, I bought Bluetooth because I knew there wouldn't be Wi-Fi. I realized they had to be connected via Wi-Fi just the first time that you set them up. So I had to unplug all of them and walk all the way back up that thing and hook them up via Wi-Fi internet, and then come back downstairs and put them all back. That walk was a walk, man.
Oh man, yeah. Like advice for anyone going to a future camp, and I kicked myself because I totally forgot about this the first time. Don't wear Converse. Like, my feet finally started feeling better yesterday for the first time. Like I was in a lot of pain because of all the mulch, walking on the mulch and stuff.
Yeah, you need that Gold Bond too, dude.
Right.
It's
and the hill that went up and down from the
freaking
fireside
hill.
will get those glutes working,
Yeah. I heard Windbush pulled 20 kegs up that hill.
It was snowing.
While simultaneously fighting off a pack of rabid wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it was crazy.
I'm pretty sure David Brodeur told me it was all in his left hand too.
Okay. That
sounds
about
that's
right.
because he was saving me from the bear with the right hand.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
thank goodness for Windbush, because he saved.
I mean,
it
wasn't a hill; it was a mountain. It was a mountain. That's for true. And
snow drifts over his head.
Right?
We did the interviews with everybody and asked everybody to get their story on the Legend of Windbush. So at some point we'll have a supercut of that. We'll have to get all the footage together. If you have footage, let us know, because we love to share. And a lot of people, I think, were asking about the Discord.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think some people are still looking to get in that. It's there, right? We're good.
It's there.
We're all set.
We're making it exclusive to former campers. So if you went to camp and you want to get in, just let us know. Yeah.
It was a hard. Well, I don't want to say hard, but we kind of had a discussion about it. There's so many Slacks and so many Discords, and like what makes this one different than the other. And we kind of just resorted to the fact that if we keep it staff and alumni from previous camps, then it allows us to have some more, maybe authentic conversations, or it keeps that community its own community, and we can have inside jokes or whatever. So
and it might not be like active all the time, but I imagine between when camps are approaching and after camps, it'll be very active, different points of the year. It's not and it's a great place for us to share and get feedback and all of that. I also wanted to thank, of course, the speakers, but the instructors. They did such a great job putting their classes together. Really, that's all them.
Yes.
I was not able to sit in every class, and I wish I could have, because I heard some.
I was able
really
to
great
sample about 3 of them, before I was needed, or whatever. But
I mean, let's see.
The Caitlin's producing workshop was incredible. Like, I felt like watching that was like reading the Freelance Manifesto, where I'm like, okay, I'm doing some of this correct.
Right.
This is how I can up my game quite a bit,
Yeah.
and it's like, it was invaluable.
And we also,
yeah, I mean,
So,
and to go through them, like Matthew Encino was there, and he did a
Mhm.
great creative direction class that honestly will probably change the way I work now. Just essentially like, I don't know, just thinking deeper on things and really dissecting the issues and imagery and what a creative brief may present to you. Satine was there again doing a phenomenal storytelling workshop.
Yeah.
It was kind of a rehash from year one, but since we had so many new campers this year, I think a lot of people really enjoyed that. And shout out to Satine and Jameson, who came as well.
Yeah.
And who
man.
is not part of the Mograph community or motion graphics or anything, but he was just totally immersed and involved, and like
it was
definitely
very cool.
embodied the spirit of camp. And I'm sure everyone there would agree, especially when you heard his voice echoing from the giant swing. As he
Should I show it?
Just,
yeah, show it.
Should I show it? All right,
yeah,
hold on.
Show it.
Hold on.
It is. I saw it on the plane, and I literally LOL'd on the plane. Everyone's looking at me.
Oh man, I saw it at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever. Here we go.
Here we go. There's everyone down here.
So this was the giant.
We're about to go up.
Yeah.
This is the great.
Had, which I think you got hauled up about 100.
It's going to be epic. I've got the cell phone in hand. I'm not sure how this is going to go.
Here, hold
We're pretty high.
The audio's going to the stream. Here, I'll let it
I think
play
it's
out
pretty
for
high.
everybody.
We're going all the way, folks. Here it is. So when this thing goes, I'm going to go flying into space. Here we go, holding on tight. All right. That is as high as it possibly can go. Everyone, thank you so much. And here we are. Woo! I love you, Satine! Woo! Yeah! That's right. Camp Mograph, everybody! Woo! Camp Mograph! Woo! All right, everybody, we're going.
So great.
It was
so great.
That swing was so much fun. Like I really wimped out, and I didn't go all the way to the top. But once it got high enough, I was like, all right, I'm good. But then every single person after me went all the way up to the top, and it was like, all right. But man, it was so much fun.
Yeah, the facilities were great.
Yeah.
And it just touching on the other workshops too. Naki Din was there doing art direction. Really cool workshop where essentially you were creating like 3D paper models. Dioramas, I guess.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And that was really cool, and just hearing her process with art direction and all that. And then we had James Ramirez teaching typography, essentially through graffiti, which
was awesome.
Was super rad, because I've always been into graffiti for like a very long time, and it was really rad to see other people sit in that class and listen to James, how he was like dissecting a letter, like an A, like you have this stem and this stem, and then you have the crossbar and the serifs, and all right, you start with that and then take that and expand on a little bit. Now make this, serif super long or whatnot, and just seeing people kind of processing that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's graffiti. Essentially just making letters super designy.
Yeah.
Designy.
I think it was Billy who posted on Twitter or something about now he's looking at all this graffiti and trying to look for the patterns in each of the letters and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was very cool to see people's like kind of light bulbs go off in that respect. But then and then Clinton Jones. Holy
that
cow.
was so cool. Yeah.
What a class. He did a surface imperfection class where essentially we had inks and chalks and paints and powders and all this stuff, and with these really large cardboard or like heavy paper stock that you would just make all these imperfections with steel brushes and all these different kind of art tools essentially to make imperfections. And then you photograph that and learned how to kind of process that to use in your work, whether it is, you know, a displacement map, bump map, roughness map, whatever, or even lending it to a 2D situation where maybe it's just a subtle texture kind of sitting in the background. But everyone I saw there was like really into it and creating and getting their hands dirty. And I think that was really cool to integrate how you would actually use these pieces into your work when you got home.
And I love the when you walk in to the class that he has you step on a piece of paper. So once the class starts, everybody's footprints are there on, on that piece.
It's a really cool. That's a really cool surface imperfection.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think he's putting them together, or he's going to put them all somewhere so that we can all download them. Same with Sanctus for their audio workshop. They're going to be taking all of them. You know, at some point, I think he said they were hoping to have it by October or whatever, where they take all the sounds and then put them out using a Creative Commons license so that anyone can use them, which would be awesome.
Yeah, so just to give a little, all the listeners a little background on that too. Some of these classes, you know, we created assets. So what we want to do is pool all those assets together and give them away to the campers that were there and help make them. We're going to do that with the surface imperfections, and then Wes and the team at Sanctus did a whole kind of sound design for motion class, where they kind of went through their process a little bit on how they sound design things. But then they took a spot that was originally made by Oddfellows, and we watched the original spot, but then we went all around camp with these little hand recorders and field recorders, recording our own sounds, and then taking that and re-sound designing the Oddfellows spot. So that was a really cool kind of full circle class. And then through that class too, we generated all of this kind of Foley and just, you know, natural sound effects that will be packaged up for the campers that were there. And I believe Wes also said that he might try to make like a beat or something with all the found sounds.
Nice.
So
That'd be cool.
He was saying that might be a fun little side project for them to do. But yeah, big ups to Wes and Jake, and I'm forgetting everyone else's name now. The whole team at Sanctus. I mean, again, people who embody the camp vibe, their team was always smiling, high-fiving, virtual high-five, high elbows. Just, it was awesome to have them at camp, and we're really stoked that they jumped on board this year with us. And then we've touched on Caitlin's producing class, but man, if you could ever hear her talk or work with her, she is a beast. She knows her shit. And I think somehow she's got to make that workshop into an online class, because it would be phenomenal.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And we're already talking to her.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, we touched on the fireside chats a little bit as well. And I don't know, I just thought it was really interesting with the diverse panel in terms of work. You know, we from title sequences to education to NFTs with people. Like, we had a nice mix of topics, and like I said, I think we got a bit deeper. Like, if I'm being, you know, completely honest, I was like, oh no, people, we're just gonna get a bunch of like fart jokes and stuff, or like whatever. And the fact that Ash wanted to hop up too to help kind of co-host and moderate the chat was great. But
I didn't give him a choice. I told him he had to.
But I feel like we got like some really good, honest answers. And I think it might have been Dave who asked, like Mike, how has this new Rain fame, like, how is it affecting your family? You know, and like getting a little bit more personal and not just like, how cool is the NFT space?
Right.
What is an NFT?
We're excited about this space because,
so it was really cool to have a nice mix of things. And what blew my freaking mind was Hazel left camp early in the morning and flew to like the Emmys.
Right.
Went to like the award show, and I was like, talk about a juxtaposition there.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just amazing that our little event can attract and hold such great talent, and people resonate with it. And, you know, we give everyone a name tag, and for the most part, everyone just wrote their first name on it. So you might be talking to Hazel, not even knowing who she is. You're just talking about life, and isn't this great? Or maybe you're waiting in line for the ropes course or whatever it may be. So just, I think humanizing everything in an age where you can pull out your phone and essentially look up everyone's bio and have a read on them in, you know, 10 seconds. It was really refreshing. So
I thought it was really funny when Mike first got to camp. He said to me, he goes, "This is a bit more campy than I was expecting." You know? I was like, okay. I don't know what you expected, but all right. You know, because the cabins were a whole lot nicer this year and stuff. You know, it was a very nice camp. You know, which is going to be.
We lucked out with that. And didn't Mike say something to you or Dave just about like how crazy his life's been and whatever?
So like at the end, you know, it's funny seeing people first come in and be not sure about it. You know, like Mike was, and then by the end he's like, "This is exactly what I needed." You know. Yeah. I just needed to get away, and this was cool. You guys have done a great event, and it's very cool to hear that positive feedback, you know, from an event that we put on like this, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, being able to wake up and not hear like city noise or for me, kids banging on the walls. And
stuff, right.
You know, like you heard the birds chirping and you know the river running next to camp. It like. I don't know. Not to
hardest
get
part
all
is waking up at
2:30
a.m. when you have to pee and you got to walk across to the restrooms. So.
But yeah, it was.
I'll be right back. I gotta
pee. And very fortunate to have
taking turns.
Everyone who showed up be there for the right reasons and be present and really embrace what camp was all about. So thanks to everyone who showed up.
And to everybody who like helped us with stuff too, either volunteered or was you know, a counselor and all the things. Like, I mean, Pickle Nick, Jeremy, Joe, Scott, EJ. Even EJ got his license for the alcohol, so that was fun.
For the beer tasting and stuff. I mean, it is. It's quite a feat to get people who don't read emails actually on into an event space and helping put it all on and taking responsibility in certain ways. And I mean, even as you know, David, who brought all the prints for the free table, that was awesome. And shout outs to Elizabeth Grigg for kind of putting that idea out there of like, hey, let's put a free table out. Like people brought pins. Neil brought those little wooden
things,
like ornament looking things that I turned into a necklace that I'm hyped on. And then I mean, like that guy Burton who was there, who does like projection mapping.
Helped us with the projection.
All of a sudden, we're now projection mapping logo up onto the building before the fireside chat is. I don't know. It just happened so organically, and everyone's like, "Oh, I could do this. I could lend a hand with that." Or it was just so good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now we got to plan. Now we got to plan the next one. So you know, stay tuned. And as soon as Matt gets back, we'll do the drop here. I know you got a hard out.
And you know, I'll give you just a little bit more personal info from my perspective. Like, I just lost my train of thought. How's that for perspective?
Perfect. Well, I know that you and I were sitting there like the last night or after it was over. Like we were back at our Airbnb before we did our flight, and we were talking a lot about it. And I just was commenting on if you've seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix. It's a good documentary, and it's just talking about how other things in history that man has invented, like let's say a hammer, a screwdriver, you know, whatever it is. Even when it comes to a camera or something, right? It's like it's always been a tool. It's a tool to do something. And with the phone, it's more than a tool. It becomes like this necessity. and it can just be a tool if you want it to be, to do things. So like when you're at camp, it's like, okay, I'm not sitting here just scrolling my phone like a zombie. I'm going to open my phone, I'm going to post a picture on my Instagram of the fun I'm having at camp, and then I'm done and I close it, and that's it. And I'll check it back later. You weren't like just sitting there waiting for people to like it or whatever. It's you know, it made your phone become a tool again. And it wasn't a necessity. You know, you just kind of forgot about it.
And the fact that like you had to go work to try to find Wi-Fi at like one of the buildings, it wasn't just there.
Right.
You know, I think even just that little pause of a moment that you're like, I'm not going to post anything. I don't want to walk all the way over and blah, blah, blah. I think that's great. And I actually had an awesome conversation with Dallas from De Facto Sound, and he was saying that this was the most time he had been away from his phone in over 10 years.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I just didn't get service, and I just left it in my bunk. And, you know, I'll bring it out once a day to see if anyone needs anything. But, like, this is the reset that I kind of needed. And that's where we started having a conversation about, like, the phantom buzzings and vibrations in the pocket. And I was like, oh, I get those. And he was like, I get those. And then Gustav from Botch Design was like, oh, I get those too.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, there's got to be something wrong if we're all having this like
phantom buzz,
like phantom buzz in our pocket there. But yeah, I mean, it was so great. It was so great. I needed it.
I don't know if anyone talked about Elizabeth, her idea for the free table.
Yeah, we talked
we
about
were just
it.
talking about
Oh,
that.
okay, dang. All right. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so many people contributed to it. Like we had enamel pins. We had, I think Blake dropped off a bunch of enamel pins.
Mellow Mograph did all of his prints and stuff
all
like
the prints.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's a tradition that will probably keep going now.
I do love that idea. You know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I still lost my train of thought, but anyway, it'll come back.
Well, are we ready to do the drop?
Let's do it.
Sure.
You have your notes and your things
somewhere.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Anything else about camp before we go into this?
We have already started looking at Camp Mograph 2023. You know, we've got a couple different locations, waiting on quotes and stuff back. You know, but we'll keep everyone up to date on anything, and it's gonna be like one thing that I love about changing locations versus doing it in the same place is that while it is difficult trying to find a new place, you know, like especially one, because you've got to get it. There's this sweet spot, right, where it's not too rustic and it's not too fancy, you know.
Yeah. And it's not too far from the airport. Yeah.
Close to the airport. And like the biggest things that our biggest takeaways from this as camp directors was, you know, we need someone to run the shuttle for us, and we need someone to serve alcohol, you know, because that was, you know, those were the two big things that took us away from having to, you know, being able to spend time with people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll probably change those up next year. So, but you know, there's a sweet spot. You know, there's a real sweet spot between what we're looking for in the camps, and you know, we've found a couple that are really nice. We're just waiting on quotes, and then we'll probably go check them out, and then maybe announce something soon. So
yeah, and it's funny now that we're looking for other camps and stuff. We're like, oh, this camp's sweet. Oh, wait, we want to do it again same time. Oh, well, we don't want a hurricane.
Yeah.
Like now
like
we
the weather is always a factor.
Yeah.
So much.
It's like, you know, Vermont and Portland, the worst you're gonna get. Well, I mean, you could get fires in Portland and stuff, but like, yeah, it would. Can we have a hard mode Camp Mograph?
Yeah.
You know, that was
the first year was medium
mode.
mode.
That's something we didn't do this year, which was the people being able to bring tents. You know.
Yeah.
And I would love to bring that back, because I think a lot of people had a good time with the tents and stuff like that. But we would need to find a place that, you know, was good and stuff. No shuttles, national park, no cabins, no showers, no internet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all tents.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
mean, I think the momentum that this event has now, and I don't even want to call it an event, but like this gathering, if you will.
Yeah.
It has my mind spinning, and I'm sure yours as well, of like how, like, maybe we anchor every year with like an official Camp Mograph, but it opens up doors for us to do other things. Like if we want to do a destination Mograph where it's some cool way out spot, or like a super remote camp, you know, it has my gears turning of what other events and gatherings we could do that might not be on such the big scale, but you know, maybe it's half the size or even smaller.
Yeah, see, I'm interested. Like the destination Mograph, we joked about that a lot. You know, after first camp, we did buy destinationmograph.com just in case.
Just in case, you know.
It just renewed yesterday, by the way. Yeah, I mean that'd be. See, everyone's saying New Zealand. You know, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
I want to do Iceland.
And you know, Iceland would be so cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
How rad would that be?
We were able to plan something in Oregon through a global pandemic. Let's just go complete international from now on, right?
Right.
I think Iceland would have to be destination Mograph, you know.
Yeah. See, I think doing like and that brings something like interesting to the table, you know, like if we could do like an Australian one part of the year during their summer, and then we could do, you know, a US one during our summer or something like that. You could get 2 a year, and then people can just travel wherever they want.
Rev says Mograph Burning Man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Depending on who we invite, it could.
Yeah, right.
Thomas says start a commune. You know, we could just buy a property and get good internet, and then everybody could just come live there.
That's not a bad idea.
Permanently.
I've looked at it.
There you
honestly.
go. Let's do it. Let's
cool.
get out of society.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Where we start our own cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked, and we don't have an answer for this yet, but a lot of people are asking, you know, about future sales. Is there going to be an alumni sale like before and all of that? And it's a tough call to make because you want that tradition, and you want previous people who are passing down the traditions and the lore,
especially
and the
ones
legends
who have been with us for 2 years and stuff like that. You know,
and,
took a gamble on us the first year and came back for the second year. Like, yeah, we've got something in mind. So
because you want new people to be able to come experience it as well, and you want the traditions to be passed on to those people. So that it's a hard balance. So
yeah,
we'll figure that out too. So.
We have something up our sleeve.
Check your emails.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. Make sure and read your emails.
That's true. Yeah. All right, you ready to do the drop?
Yeah, let me open up my stuff.
All right, I'm going to start it. Let's go to the drop.
The drop.
Is this the fucking mic? Drop. This is exactly what I should be doing.
Drop intro. What's up, and welcome to this week's episode of The Drop, your weekly source for all things NFT and crypto art, as well as upcoming drops by notable people in the Mograph industry. I'm Matt Milstead. Joining me, as always, is Dave Koss. Also joining us this week, Mark Cernosia. Let's get into our list of stuff going on. Nifty is doing a good job of keeping their amount of people down. I'm really liking what Nifty's doing lately. And we'll get into certain things. So I noticed trends, you know, in the NFT space a lot. You know, like someone will start doing this and then everyone else will jump on the train. Like the big trend, there's 2 big trends going on. 1, collectibles, which we'll get into in a little bit, and 2, burning, you know, your NFTs and stuff like that. I think like burning NFTs are like the big thing right now. You know, so and I think there's a few drops this week where you're burning NFTs, you know, and on Nifty Gateway.
Scarcity,
absolutely, you know, and that's good. You know, I think that's great. You know, there was a big rush of people to get into the NFT space back in March. You know, yeah, so. You know, I think the burning stuff is pretty cool. So first up today, we've got Bill Ellis. Bill Ellis is doing a drop on Nifty, and I think this is a burning one.
September
I
20th.
believe
It's
you
so
burn
pretty.
some of your items for more items or something. Another begins in one chapter.
So
Yeah,
nice. So clean.
I
All the
love Bill
skulls.
Ellis's work.
Yeah,
I
his
think
stuff
it's
is
so
dope.
cool.
Yeah.
Super
What
cool.
was up with the shot of
So-
the alcohol there? Like, what's going
I don't
on
know.
there?
I have no idea.
Is it like it's like a mock whiskey ad or something?
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
It's interesting.
You know, I bet they have, since it's going on today. You know, you could probably look on Nifty
Gosh,
Gate.
that's so clean.
Mm.
Collectors
Oh,
only.
so pretty. Oh yeah,
God, so good.
you know, that's also another thing that they're doing is the collectors only drops. So I know Brilly did one last week, and I'm sad that we didn't get to shill it on the show or whatever. But like, yeah, it was a collector only drop. Oh my gosh, these pieces are gorgeous.
What else you got?
Okay, yeah, so that's Bill Ellis. That's going on tonight. Next up tomorrow, Exulo, I believe is how you pronounce it. These ones are beautiful. I love these ones. This is just an example of some of the art. I don't know much about Exulo, but these are a couple of the pieces that are going to be dropped tomorrow on Nifty Gateway. Super cool. And then 922, Miss Al Simpson is doing a drop. This is Crypto Babes. I don't know. I don't know anything about Miss Al Simpson, so I don't.
Is this music related?
Yeah, I
Or
don't
no?
think so.
Digital
I
graffiti,
think this
okay.
digital
Digital
graffiti.
graffiti.
Yeah, I don't know. So interested to see that, I guess. 923. There's two drops that night. First that evening. First one is Andrea Bonacito, I believe is how you pronounce. I'm not really sure what it's about. You know,
Oh, there's
because
no
some of the
preview?
previews and stuff like that they don't really show. It's
Yeah.
just
Well, there's a
okay,
couple
some of
there.
yeah, there you go. So some of these little like very colorful pieces, stuff like that. Look pretty cool. Next one for that same day on the 23rd is Perry Cooper. Perry Cooper.
Ooh, this is
I
cool
really
looking.
like Perry Cooper's work. You know,
I like
super Mography and stuff like that. You know,
love
a
the
bunch of these
textures.
little. Right, I love the textures. I think they're very cool.
Yeah,
So
really
there's a
cool.
whole bunch of different pieces. I
Plenty
don't know
of
if you
time.
can go to Perry Cooper's Twitter, just the Twitter. Yeah,
In
click on
general?
them.
Yeah.
You can see, yeah, those are the same types of pieces and
Yeah.
stuff. Really cool stuff. I really like that.
Yeah.
You know. And then 924, September 24th, a lot of money is
A
doing
lot of
drop.
money.
A lot of money, and it's a collector's only drop. It's got some eyeballs and stuff. It doesn't show much, but I don't know. Could
Looks like a
be
teaser.
cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So are a
It's
lot of the
teaser.
for collector only drops ones where like you have to burn to get one?
No, so for collectors only, are ones where if you have one of their previous works, only those people who have those previous works can actually bid on their
Right.
stuff, which is cool. Like, and it's for those ones that are like drawings and stuff like that. I was able to pick up one of Blake Catherine's because it was for collectors only, and I had 3 of her pieces. So I was able to, enter the drawing 3 times, which was really cool. Ended up winning one of her pieces for only $300, and I think the floor right now is like almost 4,000 for that one, which is pretty sweet. Yeah. So that's it for Nifty Gateway. Next up, we got Maker's Place. We got 3 really cool artists dropping this week, and it's interesting. So the first one is a collab between Boss Logic and Shakira. Which is pretty
Oh,
rad.
do I have the?
you know?
Is this right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's
That's
okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, that's
these
Shakira, okay.
ethereal girl, female fantasy, women NFTs are pretty popular in the space
Yeah.
right now. I know Chelsea Ariev has been doing a bunch of these, and they look really good and stuff like that. And there's a lot in that space. Very that same style, and I thought it looked really good. Next up, you got Hackatoo. Hackatoo's been around for since the space started, and has done a bunch of stuff on Nifty as well. So really well-known artists within the industry. Last up, I'm super excited about this one. As stupid as it is, T-Pain is doing a drop on Maker's Place, and like, you hear T-Pain, and like you're like, okay, that's fine. I want to know what studio he worked with, because these ones are freaking rad.
Yeah.
So good.
It looks like more than just like a.
Right.
Like
it doesn't look like
empty,
it doesn't look
soulless
like
NFT.
a soulless NFT. There you go.
Yeah.
Like, this is sweet.
Yeah,
this
look
is
at that.
super sweet.
God,
And
look at that skull.
I think like that part right there. Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
I think this has something to do with dropping like an album as well. If you read the description, it talks about dropping a new released album or something like that, which is pretty cool. I think that's really cool. I love T-Pain. I started following him on TikTok, and his podcast is very funny.
Oh, I need to check that
I
out. That's
really
funny.
really like T-Pain.
Yeah.
He's a very and super talented dude. So
you should. There's a documentary. I think it's either on Netflix or on Apple TV. It's a music documentary, docu-series, and there's one part on auto-tune, and they interview T-Pain, right? And like
Of course.
how he like started this thing, and how the backlash of auto-tune to him, and how all these artists are like, you're ruining music, and like all this stuff. It's just how he had to process it, and like the mental health stuff he went through.
Sure.
It's actually very interesting. It gave me a whole new respect for T-Pain.
Which is hilarious to me, because T-Pain is an incredibly talented singer. Like, he won the Masked Singer the first year or whatever,
Oh, I
first
didn't
or
even know
second
that.
year.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
he was the winner, and it's like he is a very, very talented singer. He doesn't need to use auto-tune.
That's
but
funny.
he does,
That's funny.
Yeah, he was saying he used it just to get like this effect, essentially,
get
and then
the
it just
effect.
took
It's
off,
cool.
and he was just
Yeah.
known as the auto-tune guy.
Yeah, Sarah and Cher did
Yeah,
it first.
Cher
She
did it first.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, Cher is the one I remember.
I think I want to say Kid Rock also did an auto-tune one as
God.
well for one of his first albums or something. I remember hearing that back in high school.
We got some community drops too, and I wanted to mention,
go ahead.
before we go into that, I did notice going through TikTok that Lil Nas X was promoting his new album.
Yeah, I really like Lil Nas X.
Yeah, I do
You know?
too. He's
I wasn't
pregnant. Did he have his
I
baby
wasn't
yet?
sure about him at first, but like I dig him. I dig him.
Did he have his baby?
You know? I don't know if he had
Remember,
his baby yet.
he's been posting
know,
on
I
TikTok
know.
with the pregnant stomach. Yeah, I want to know.
He was pregnant by the devil, right? Or
Is
I
that
can't
how
remember.
it happened?
I don't know. He said he let the devil smash once, and
That's
then
true.
you know.
I saw that one. Yeah. And but I noticed he was talking about it, and he was holding the album, and I'm pretty sure it was stuff that Blake did. That's pretty
Absolutely, yeah.
unmistakable.
It was Blake. It
Yeah.
was Blake, totally.
Yeah.
Like that's so rad. Like, I know they had collaborated on some stuff. Like he had hired her to do some stuff for him for like, concert visuals and stuff like that. The first time I met Blake, I told her about how much I liked those visuals and stuff, and I fell in love with her style seeing that first initial thing, and then like, I mean, she has blown up since, you know. And you can just tell her style, and as soon as we saw those, we're like, oh yeah, that's
gotta
Blake.
be
That's
it.
definitely
Well, and that's what
Blake.
was cool too about Camp Mograph this year, was that all these NFT like kind of superstars that have spawned out of the motion graphics industry, like everyone was already like had a ticket and stuff, and so like all of a sudden we're all hanging out.
Yep.
And I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, what is the net worth of all the campers?
Right.
now? Like,
Even without
wild.
Winkleman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without Winkleman.
Yeah.
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 it's just great to see motion designers like getting other ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
income.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk about Ryan Talbot's piece. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look at this. I saw this and I was like,
Beautiful.
oh my God, that looks so good. And I was, flipping through Instagram. I think I sent it to our Halo group. And I was like, y'all, this is insane. Check this out. And
Sold
then
it for almost $120,000. That's
30
insane.
ETH.
That's so cool.
the next day,
Awesome.
30 freaking ETH. So
Well, and you know
good.
what was cool about Ryan because he was at Camp Mograph this year. he was the first artist when we were going around introducing each other or ourselves in classes. He was the first one to say, "Yeah, I make NFTs."
Right. What do you like? What do you do?
interesting.
Oh, I make NFTs.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay. That's first time I've heard that, and probably far
Instead
from
of
the
saying
last.
I'm a motion designer or whatever, it's I make NFTs. That's cool. That's cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
There we got an email from somebody.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to read that or do you have that in front of you?
I can read it.
Okay.
Yep. Hello.
Another
I hope you're having a
community.
good week. I've been listening to your Mograph podcast for a while now, and I've been loving the implementation of the drop. Thank you. I'm not too sure how you decide what is featured in the drop. However, I've seen you mention to email if we'd like to drop to be featured. So here I am. Love to be considered for this. Most recent piece will be released 13th of December at 5 p.m. Unknown origin. I've attached a JPEG version of the piece to this email. Feel free to check it out. Link to the piece is here. Do you got that, Dave?
I sure do.
Carla, is it Carla Bately? I hope I'm saying that right. Or Batley. Batley. Yeah. Sharing all the promos for the drop. Twitter is at Carla_Batley. Where she'll be sharing all the promo about the drop. And it has not sold yet, right?
No, December, right? Isn't
yes.
That, yeah.
No, September 13th.
Oh, September.
But we were out. You know, we haven't had a show in a couple weeks. So a little about the whole project. In January, I started a new series of tiny hotels as NFTs. This has been and will continue to be
That's cool.
continued project for me. I'm recently feeling that this is my main long-term project to show my growing skills and style as an artist. Each tiny hotel created all take inspiration from different themes, styles, or concepts. Thank you, loving the podcast, and I hope you have a great time at Camp Mograph. Yeah, thank you, thank you, Carla, for the email. That's awesome.
And we'll link to that in the show notes as well.
And this brings up an interesting topic. You know, she was talking about doing a series of, pieces and stuff like that. And this kind of goes into a lot of the things that people have been doing lately, which are these collectibles, and we talked about the Visitors a few weeks ago, which the Visitors, I believe, are still doing quite well. Let's see. The floor is... Oh, it's at 0.08, which is good. That's almost like twice what we paid for it, which is cool, But yeah, so it's like these little collectibles, like CryptoPunks or the Bored Apes Yacht Club or whatever.
Yeah.
All these things are becoming big. Lirona. She did a whole set of these before these got really big. They were called Boys, BOIS, I believe, and she sold all of hers on Rarible, of all places, and she was one of the top artists for weeks because of this. She got into it really early, and so it's really cool seeing a lot of artists come out and start doing this, and it's really cool. One in particular that's coming out soon, Alexi. I can never.
Ace 5.
Yeah, Ace 5 Studios. Alexi is working on this one called BoneWorld.co.
Something pretty cool.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I really like these. I like that they're adding the 3D-ness into it, which is really, really cool. So I'm not 100% sure when these are supposed to be dropping.
The metaverse version of
everyone, everyone has been doing. All these collectibles have been like 10,000 versions of these collectibles, which is is cool. So
not like one. So kind of jumping off Alexi's project here. I'm like super into the collectibles that either have a 3D asset or something where obviously you're buying the IP, you're buying commercial rights and stuff, but a lot of these projects too are including a 3D file, like a 3D OBJ or something.
Oh, yeah.
So there's one that I've been buying up called Super Yeti, and they're these cool little Yeti characters. And you can get the models of them, and what I'm starting to think about is how, like, say if we all own these different collectibles, and we
There's
have
the
the
website
IP,
if you want to bring it
we
up.
have the we have the model. Like essentially, we could start making, say, like a cartoon or a show, and
Absolutely.
we're all using our IPs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
I think there's
that's-
so much to explore
That
in
would be
this,
cool.
and like it's, you know, the other kind of profile picture, the PFP type stuff is great, but I really enjoy the ones that you actually get like something that's usable, and you can start essentially making that maybe into like a character for your business or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So
I love that idea. Like
Everybody's IP
say
comes together
you're
into
like,
a show.
oh, okay, I want to create, I want to create a show about Yetis. So I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of these, super
Totally.
Yetis, and then I'm gonna create a show based off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like you essentially could make something like a South Park, right? And everyone has their own character, and you're writing your own whatever it may be. I mean, this is obviously way down the road, but like
you want them to flourish because
the
then
opportunity there is,
more merch.
is pretty big.
Yeah,
That's
that's really
cool.
cool. That would
super
be
cool.
really fun.
So it's I like that idea on the collectibles, because just doing the collectibles, like the visitors, for example, they I don't know, like it was interesting when that was all going down, because it was almost like all the Mographers on the Slack, got into it, and we were all just like buying them just to show off, that we bought them in Slack. It's like, we spent some money too.
To be honest, I think that project holds a little bit of weight outside of that too. It's because it was, I believe it was the first like 10,000 PFP project on Polygon, on Mavic.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So like, if there's any sort of provenance or anything like that, I mean, that's why I'm holding on to mine. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
So,
with this one, you can take you can take like 2 of them and then recycle them into a completely new one. They're eventually going to get to that, which is neat. So I like these little additions that they're adding to it.
Well, and being part of the Mograph podcast here, and the drop being a section of that, I think, it would behoove all of us animators to look into these different projects outside of just collecting, and as a collector, and actually trying to work with some of these projects, because I've talked to the Super Yeti people, and they don't have anyone animating the Yetis, and I'm like, I can do that, or I think there's so much room for a motion graphics artist to essentially partner and work with these companies to allow them, afford them better marketing material and all that. But it's a whole other avenue for us to get into NFTs other than selling our own art.
And also that you can revenue share.
That brings up an interesting idea, because it's like, what if you buy these NFTs, right? The Super Yetis, you do an animation with them, and then you sell that animation as an NFT. But it's like, you own the rights to that immediately. But what happens if you ever sell that Super Yeti? Do you lose the right to be able to sell that as an NFT or whatever? Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, but there's just so much, right? All the derivatives that you can do, and animation. I mean, I think it's just getting scratched the surface right now. And I think there's a lot of things to explore as artists, and as ways that we can almost partner with these other projects, because they're on the dev side and the design side. We can bring in animation and all of a sudden step up their marketing and all that. And you've seen some of it, like that Mechaverse project.
Mechaverse looks so cool. That's
coming from
gonna
like
sell out
motion
like
graphics
that,
people, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is too.
And you can tell. I mean, they're sick, and they animate really nice and have different things to them. So I think there's a lot of room for us to help out and get even more involved with these projects, other than just being a collector.
Yeah, and like Jen asks in the chat, would the animators get a cut of the profit? I think that's what's great, is you could do smart contracts and things that all tie into all of this, so that it's a guarantee.
I mean, think about it. Like if you were in the right place at the right time, and you're like, hey, let me animate those 2 apes for you.
Yeah.
In return, I just want 2 apes.
Yeah.
And like maybe that started out as like $1,000, and you're like, well, cool, it's fun for a little weekend project, and now you're sitting on 200K or something. Like I think there's a lot of room for collaboration, for work, and to kind of interject our skills into this space more than just art.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Paul has a drop as well.
Yes. Paul Robinson.
Paul Robinson.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Paul Babb. I was like,
No.
I love it.
Someday
cool?
that would be fun. Yeah, Paul Robinson. This is on Twitter here. This one is it doesn't have a name yet. It just says
He's
get
using
ready.
the same bot character.
9/25/21. So just
Ah,
keep that in mind. Put a link for that in show notes as well. So,
nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look at all these promos that like people that we know of from the motion graphics community are making, right? And then you
Yeah.
see some other promos for some of these big projects, and it's just a JPEG, right? Like
Yep.
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Like there's
Right.
so much like stuff that we could bring to these projects to help elevate it. You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
Oh, look who it is.
Oh. Hey there.
Hello, Dorpy.
How's it going? I'm back from camp. Back from Camp Mograph. I'm feeling inspired. I doggy paddled in the water a little bit, and I ate some chili dogs. So yeah, you
Roughing
guys.
it out there, huh?
Yeah, it was
Those
fun.
chili dogs were delicious.
They were good. You guys told me it would be fun there, and you were right. You were spot on. Yeah. Did you see all the squirrels running around there too?
I did, yes.
Yeah, it was great. They were delicious. Yeah, so anyway, I gotta go. I got some spooky renders I gotta start working on for Halloween. It's just around the corner. And I'm gonna go get myself a pumpkin spice latte.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, bye.
There. The number of times you and I over the past few weeks have gone, okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
funny.
good.
Anything else for the drop? Are we done with the drop?
I think we're done with the drop. Let's get back into the actual show. If y'all have any NFTs that you're dropping for the week, make sure to email us info@mograph.com and we will show them on the show.
Totally. All right, let's get out of here.
The drop.
Is this the fucking mic drop? This is exactly what I should be doing.
All right.
Mark, thanks for coming on the show and talking camp with us. Man, I feel like we barely even,
I know.
You know.
There's so much more.
like, it was so much fun, and I'm excited to see what we can do with it next year. I was telling people at camp, I said, I think this year was so successful. One, I mean, we had a good camp the first year, and everyone, despite its downfalls of like being really cold,
Yeah.
and power popping occasionally or whatever, everyone went away from it being like super pumped about camp, especially Ryan Summers. He was like our biggest cheerleader for camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so sad that he didn't get to come this
Yeah.
year,
We will be
and
catching up with him next Monday, though. Anyway, he is going to come
Oh.
on the show. So
Okay, rock on. So like I was telling people, I said, I don't know, like I hope that year 2 was not just a fluke because everyone was ready to get out of their house.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll find out at year 3. And I really hope. I think everyone who I've talked to has had such positive experiences about camp. I have a feeling this will be a pretty good event going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it was nice having a fresh group of people there this year too. It's always great having some alumni there to kind of share in the vibe and help the vibe continue. And as much as we are kind of off the radar and disconnected, it's a little weird to be like regramming things when we are connected and whatnot. But after year 1 and kind of having everyone, it seemed like betting against us, like just to see all the reactions and all the posts and the FOMO happening, it was like, okay, I think we're really onto something now. And especially after the last year, this was really the best event that could have happened as the first kind of, kickoff well, I was going to say kickoff to event season, but
Yeah.
I guess that's not really happening.
Yeah.
It's really funny because, like, for some people, it was their last event before COVID and
Yeah.
their first event, I guess, during COVID.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And who knows? Like, I sure hope it's not, but I
The
hope
only
it's
event
not
for a
the
while.
next event.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like you said earlier, Dash Bash is this weekend, so you know, big ups to them. Good
Yeah.
luck this weekend.
We know how hard
I
it
know
is to
they're gonna
plan
kill
an
it, and they're
event.
gonna keep
Yeah.
everyone safe, and they've
Yeah.
updated their protocols for COVID and
Which
all
is
that.
good,
And you know, it's all about getting together and keeping people safe and making sure that environment is an environment that everyone can feel safe in, and then that just kind of helps like melt away any sort of
Absolutely.
Yeah.
anxiety around it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We should
for sure.
recommend to them about the wristbands.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked really well. Also, there was something else I was going to mention. Oh, something we did not even get to this week was talking about R25, which
Yeah.
I haven't even had a chance to even look at it yet because like we've just been recovering from camp and
I have downloaded it.
yeah, that's about as
looks
far as I
It
got
looks a
so
bit
far.
like Blender, but
Yeah.
I have downloaded it.
Yeah,
Pretty
and
major
it's
release though, yeah.
yeah, it's one of the things about it is the new interface, and that's kind of like
Yeah.
the big thing, you know, that everyone's talking about. And you know, you can go back and forth in it, and
You
we don't
can
have
very easily, yeah.
Yeah, you can go back to the old one. I think it's good to learn the new as well. But
There's the biggest thing that I love just looking at the new interface is the tabs. Like
Yeah,
being able to
tabs.
easily hop between projects and stuff like that. That is totally rad to me. Instead
Yeah.
of just having to do window, whatever, you know, that one's cool.
and there's so much
Well-
more with scene nodes and capsule, all of that stuff that I haven't even begun to look at. You
I know.
Yeah, totally. It sounds amazing, and I have
Yeah.
yet to dig into
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
But
Well-
if you're confused with like the new icons and stuff, like if you need some help, I think Jeremy Cox has a icon pack that if you want to grab, I think that might make it easier for anyone who's having trouble.
If you don't get the joke, go look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that will make it much easier.
Much easier.
Yeah,
that's funny.
but we'll talk about that over the next couple of weeks. So we might touch on it next week when Ryan's on. But I think you know the show after that, that one is our show 300, which I still have no idea what in the world we're gonna be doing with that exactly.
It's all right.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but you know
We should do another call-in show.
Yeah, we'll think of something. Here's the artwork. Jeremy made
God.
this one.
My hair looks so good there.
I know,
like,
right? It's perfect.
That's what I actually look like with long hair. I may have to grow it back out.
Yeah, that's what my
I
body
love
looks
Octane
like too.
Jesus just kind of hanging out in back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll think of something. You know, we always goof around on these shows a lot. I think maybe we'll actually get into some actual, you know, real conversation about the industry and what's happened since 300 episodes ago and all of that. I think it'll be fun. We'll talk about the evolution of Cinema 4D, and EJ knows a lot more about R25, so
Yeah.
that'll be our time to talk about it in
Yeah.
a couple weeks. So that'll give us some time to actually open it up and play with it before then, so we can ask questions. So.
Yep.
Mark, if people want to find you on the interwebs, where can they find you at?
Profanity.tv or on Instagram on profanity.creative, I think. Same with, I think on Twitter on profanity3D. That's
Just
my
Google it.
like studio gram, and then I'm just at mark.cernosia on the personal page. So yeah, would love to connect with anyone, talk more about camp.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything, you know. And I'll throw this out there too, because we've talked about it and not really sure how to integrate it. But again, with the whole NFT scene and all that, like I feel like we would kind of be dumb and oblivious not to start exploring how to integrate some sort of NFT with camp, and whether that's like airdropping artwork to campers or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I mean, I think it would really do us justice to start thinking about that, and whether it's tickets or whatever. I think that's the.
I mean, you make 130 collectible Camp Mograph NFTs, you know,
There you
that
go.
everyone gets each year. You know?
Exactly.
That'd be
It's
cool.
like a concert poster. You can only
Right.
get it if you're there.
You
And then
go,
if you
but-
collect all 130, then you get like a golden ticket.
After
then
130
you
years of
get
coming to camp.
have a Christie's auction.
Right,
and,
then you get to have a Christie's auction.
But yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
So thank you everyone for coming. We couldn't have done it
Absolutely.
without you.
Yeah,
because you would've been
absolutely.
Sitting in the
Like-
woods by yourself. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to get out of here.
Right on.
You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review on your podcatcher of choice. Helps get our ratings up. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, which goes out approximately every month. I think we're doing one this week or next. We'll put the video in there from camp and some other things. We got a few fun things coming up here with the fall, and I'm just trying to keep that schedule going. Just not sure exactly when this baby's coming, so we'll just keep at it for now.
Yeah, we thought it was going to come last week.
So, in the middle of the live stream, literally in the middle of the live stream, we had to leave, and Matt had to come here and finish.
I went over to Dave's house and he's like, all right, let me show you, the software, let you run through the first couple people and so on and so on. I've used OBS and, a little bit of XSplit, but I didn't know how his whole setup was going. So I get over there, I'm running stuff. It's fine, and I was like, okay, I get this. I'm going to go home. So I left. I get almost all the way home and he goes, dude, we got to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
You need to come back.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, here I come.
But it turned out that, like, the doctor really was making it sound like it was a bigger thing than the hospital thought it was. We got there, and they're like, oh, no, you need to let the kid cook for 3 or 4 more weeks.
Yeah,
So,
right.
and if there's
yeah.
one thing to say about camp too, if there was an MVP, it most definitely would be Julie, who
Yep,
Yeah.
is
100%.
9 months pregnant, staying up
Almost.
till 3 in the morning, bartending,
Yep.
making sure people were taken care of, and
She insisted
mean-
on coming, too, the moment
Yep.
we found out we were pregnant. So
She's
unbelievable.
she's like,
in
I'm
her
still
third
going to camp.
trimester and
Yeah,
coming to camp. Yep,
yeah.
it was funny.
Middle name Keyframe.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's so great. So thank you, Julie, in a public forum. Thank you.
for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. You can say you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt with a Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb Feel the Babb 2020 shirt. That's a classic. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. The Render Things T-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee. That Render is Fire shirt, which you are only allowed to wear, ironically, unless you're shams. And the Mograph Blandishment shirt, which I'm wearing right here. You can kind of see it a little bit. That one's on the
Cinema
site
40
as well. So
We need to make a Camp Mograph fire shirt and only make one to send to Shams.
Right.
just Camp Mograph
Yeah.
was fire.
Yeah.
And we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Make sure you hit us up on TikTok and let's follow each other. Let's see what's going on in the TikTok world of Cinema 4D. And that is it. We're gonna get out of here. We appreciate everybody for watching and coming to hang out at camp. And until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Mark.
Have a good one.
Later,
Peace
yo.
out.
Make sure to sign up for our Camp Mograph newsletter. www.campmograph.com.
CampMograph.com.
If you want more information about Camp Mograph. Like the I love your far right monitor.
Full center.
Man. Anyone seen the stocks lately? Oh, it's so painful.
Stonk.